My dear friends, in life we all want success. We all want happiness, peace, recognition, and fulfillment. But often, what we do not want are the challenges that come along the way. We pray for a smooth journey. We wish for no obstacles. And we desire a life that is easy. But let us pause for a moment and think, if life had no challenges, would we ever discover our strength? If there were no storms, would we ever value the calm? If there were no exams, would a student ever truly learn? Imagine going to a gym. You walk in, see the dumbbells, and tell the trainer, I don't want any weights. Just give me muscles. He will smile and say, that's impossible. Why? Because it's the resistance of the weights that builds your strength. Similarly, in life, it is the resistance of problems that builds our character. Many people admire the butterfly. It is delicate, beautiful, and free. But do you know that before becoming a butterfly, it struggles inside the cocoon? Scientists discovered that if you cut open the cocoon and let the butterfly out easily, it cannot fly. Why? Because the struggle inside the cocoon is what pushes the fluid into its wings and gives it the strength to fly. Without the challenge, the butterfly never experiences the success of flight. Our struggles are not punishments and God. They are preparations. Every difficulty is like training. Every challenge is like a lesson. And every obstacle is like a teacher. When life throws problems at us, it is not to stop us, but to shape us. If we run away from challenges, we won the 16 hours on God, we run away from the very things that can make us strong. So the next time you face a challenge, don't at just 16 hours complain. Why me? Instead ask, what is this teaching me? How is this preparing me for greater success? Remember, and diamonds are just pieces of coal that went through pressure. If they had refused the pressure, God, they would have remained ordinary. Let us embrace challenges with courage, because without them, success has no meaning. Just as light shines brightest after darkness, 16 hours in God, our true potential shines brightest after challenges. Life without challenges is like walking into a gym and telling the trainer, please don't give me any weights, but make me strong. The trainer will smile and say, that's not how strength is built. If we think carefully, resistance is not our enemy. Resistance is our greatest ally. When we pick up a dumbbell, it feels heavy. It makes us sweat, and sometimes it even hurts. Yet, every drop of sweat and every ache in the muscle is a sign that growth is happening. Similarly, in the gym of life, challenges are the weights placed in our hands. They feel heavy, uncomfortable, and even painful. But without them, we remain weak, both physically and mentally. Imagine someone who has never faced rejection, never failed an exam, never lost anything in life, and never struggled. On the surface, it sounds like a perfect life, 16 hours in God. But in reality, such a person will be fragile. The first time something doesn't go their way, they will break down completely because they were never trained to handle life's unpredictability. just like a muscle that is never exercised becomes soft and weak. A mind that never goes through challenges remains unprepared for real life. Challenges are like personal trainers. Sometimes they shout at us, sometimes they push us, sometimes they make us do more than we think we can. And at that moment, we may feel this is too much, but after a while, we realize they were actually shaping us into something stronger. Think about it. When you first try lifting weights, it feels impossible. You can barely hold it. But after consistent effort, the same weight feels light, and you move on to heavier ones. That's how life works too. Problems that once terrified, you will later feel small because you've grown through them. Look at the trees around us. If you plant a sapling and shield it from every wind, never let it face the sun or the rain, it will remain weak. The moment it is exposed to nature, it will bend and break. God. But a tree that has stood against storms, winds, heat, and cold becomes strong and deeply rooted. Our challenges are like those storms. They may shake us, but they also root us deeper into wisdom, patience, and resilience. Even history teaches us this truth. Great leaders, inventors, and thinkers did not become great because life was smooth. They became because life was hard. It was the resistance they faced, the failures, criticisms, and struggles that built their inner strength. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Imagine if he had given up after 1 or 2 tries. The world would be in darkness. But the weights of failure made him strong enough to succeed. So, whenever life gives us a challenge, we must remind ourselves, this is my weight to lift, my resistance to grow from. If I drop it and run away, I remain the same. If I pick it up and push through, I evolve into a stronger, wiser version of myself. When we face a challenge, the first thought that often comes to our mind is, why is this happening to me? It feels like life has singled us out for suffering. We begin to see difficulties as punishments. But the truth is, challenges are not punishments. They are opportunities. They are life's way of preparing us for something bigger, shaping us into someone greater. If we look closely, every challenge carries within it the seed of growth. Think of a student sitting in an examination hall. At that moment, the exam feels stressful, even painful. But is the teacher punishing the student? Absolutely not. The teacher wants to test the student's knowledge and prepare him or her for the next level of learning. Ours and God. In the same way, life places us in examination halls again and again, not with question papers, but with situations, setbacks, and struggles. Each of these challenges is not meant to punish, but to promote us to the next level. Take the example of an athlete. To prepare for the Olympics, the athlete trains for years. Early mornings, grueling practice sessions, strict diets, endless repetitions. At times it must feel like punishment. The body aches, the mind feels tired, and the spirit wants to give up. But the coach knows this is not punishment. This is preparation. Without that preparation, and the athlete cannot hope to stand on the podium one day with a medal around their neck. The 16 hours in God, the same is true for all of us. Our struggles are the training sessions for the victories that await us. Life's challenges also work like fire on gold. Gold, in its raw form, does not shine. It must be put into the fire, melted, and purified. Only then does its brilliance emerge. If the gold could speak, it might cry out, "Why are you burning me? Why are you putting me through this pain?" But once the process is over, it realizes the fire was not a punishment. It was the path to its true value. Likewise, 16 hours in God, when we go through the fire of life's difficulties, we to begin to shine with wisdom, patience, and strength. Sometimes we only realize the true value of a challenge much later. God, while we are in the middle of it, we feel lost and burdened. But when we look back, 6 in God, we see how that very challenge made us who we are today. Perhaps losing a job opened the door to discovering a new talent. Perhaps a heartbreak taught us compassion. Perhaps a failure gave us the determination to work harder. And God, what felt like punishment at the time turned out to be preparation for something greater. Even nature reminds us of this. God, the seed buried deep in the soil, may feel like it has been trapped in darkness, covered in mud, but that darkness is not its punishment. It is its opportunity. From that very place, it begins to grow roots, break the soil, and rise towards the light. Without that dark struggle underground, no tree would ever be born. So the next time we face a challenge, let us remind ourselves as, this is not life punishing me. This is life preparing me. This is not the end of the road. It is a stepping stone to growth. Every challenge, 16 hours in God, no matter how difficult, is a classroom where we learn lessons that success alone could never teach. God, one of the most powerful lessons of life comes from the story of the butterfly. 16 hours and God. Before it becomes that beautiful, delicate creature we admire, it goes through an intense struggle. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar transforms, but the process is not easy. It has to fight its way out, pushing and struggling for hours, sometimes even days. Scientists once tried to help by cutting open the cocoon to free the butterfly, thinking they were doing it a favor. But the butterfly that was released easily never managed to fly. Its wings remained weak and gaunt. And without the pressure of struggle, it could not develop the strength needed to soar. And God, what looked like cruelty was actually nature's way of preparation. Without the struggle of the cocoon, there is no flight. This lesson is equally true for us. Every struggle we go through is our cocoon moment. At times, life feels tight, suffocating, and restricting. We may feel trapped, unable to move forward, desperate for an escape, 16 hours in God. But what we do not realize in that moment is that the struggle is building our wings. Every push we make against our obstacles is strengthening us. preparing us for the flight of success and freedom. Without the struggle, we remain caterpillars crawling on the ground. With the struggle, we transform into butterflies capable of reaching the skies. Think of some of the most successful people in the world. Their greatness was not handed to them on a silver platter. And God, they had to break through their cocoons of hardship. A person who grew up in poverty had to struggle to study, work, and build a life. An inventor had to endure countless failures before creating something valuable. An artist had to face rejection after rejection before their work was appreciated. Each of these struggles, though painful, were the cocoons that shaped their wings of greatness. The truth is, struggle is not comfortable. The butterfly surely feels pain as it pushes against the walls of the cocoon, but that very resistance is what makes it strong. Likewise, when we face resistance in life, when people doubt us, when plans fail, when we face rejections, it is easy to think, why can't things be simple? Yet, those very difficulties are building the strength we will need later. They are teaching us perseverance, patience, and resilience, equalities that easy situations could never give. Even in our personal lives, we can see this pattern. Think of a time you went through a setback. Maybe it was a failure in studies, maybe a relationship that didn't work out, maybe a financial loss. At the time, it felt unbearable. But when you look back now, don't you see how much stronger, wiser, and more mature you became because of it? The struggle was your cocoon, and without it, God. You would not have grown into the person you are today. If we truly reflect 16 hours and God, we will realize that the people who try to live without struggles often remain unprepared for life. They may avoid challenges, but in avoiding them, they also avoid growth. On the other hand, those who embrace struggle, even though it hurts, emerge with wings strong enough to fly over obstacles that once seemed impossible. So, just like the butterfly, we must not wish for an easy escape from the cocoon. We must push, endure, and grow through our struggles, because those very struggles are nature's way of preparing us for the skies. Without them, we crawl. With them, we soar. Success is a word we all love. We dream about it, we chase it, and we desire it deeply. God, but have you ever noticed that success feels truly valuably only when it is earned after difficulties? If something comes too easily, we often don't value it. When 16 hours, God, when a child is given a toy without asking, within a few days, it may end up forgotten in a corner. But if that same child had saved pocket money, worked hard, or waited patiently to get that toy, the value of it be entirely different. The effort gives meaning to the reward. Imagine a mountain climber. If someone carried him in a helicopter to the top of Mount Everest and dropped him there, yes, he would see the view, but he would not feel the glory. The experience would be shallow because he did not go through the sweat, the freezing winds, the exhaustion, and the perseverance required to climb. On the other hand, the climber who struggles step by step, who fights the altitude sickness, who pushes through every obstacle, will stand at the summit with tears of joy. Why? And God. Because the difficulties made the success meaningful. Life works exactly the same way, and God. Easy victories may give us temporary pleasure, but they rarely give us lasting fulfillment. When we look back at our lives, the achievements that make us most proud are not the ones that came without effort, but the ones that demanded every bit of our strength, patience, and determination. The graduation after years of sleepless nights, the business built after countless failures, and God, the relationship saved after sacrifices. These are the successes that touch our hearts deeply because they were born out of struggle. Think about a farmer. He spends months plowing the fields, sowing seeds, protecting the crops from storms and pests, God, and waiting through the seasons. The harvest is not immediate. It is slow, uncertain, and filled with challenges. But when the golden fields finally bloom, 16 hours and God, the joy of the farmer is unmatched because the difficulties made the harvest meaningful. If fruits simply appeared overnight without effort, hours and God, they would never carry the same sweetness in the heart of the farmer. There's also a psychological truth here. Our brains value what we invest effort into. When we go through pain, struggle, and setbacks, our minds attach significance to the outcome. That's why even a small success after difficulties feels enormous. A student who failed several times before passing the exam will cherish that success far more than someone who passed easily. The taste of victory is sweeter because of the bitterness of the struggle. If we lived in a world where everything came instantly, no effort and God, no waiting, no pain, success would lose its meaning entirely. We would take it for granted, and in that comfort, we would also lose growth. It is the contrast between difficulty and triumph that makes success shine. Just like the stars are visible only against the darkness of the night sky, success becomes visible only against the backdrop of struggle. So, the next and God, we face difficulties on the road to success. We must not curse them. 16 hours and God. We must remember that they are the very ingredients that will make our success meaningful. Without the hardship, the joy of victory is hollow. With hardship, every achievement becomes a story, a memory, and a source of pride that lasts forever. Every time we encounter an obstacle in life, our first instinct is usually frustration. We feel blocked, delayed, or even punished by circumstances. But if we step back and observe carefully, we realize that obstacles are not enemies. They are teachers in disguise. They may not stand in front of us with a blackboard and chalk, but they teach lessons far more powerful than any classroom ever could. Think of the times when life didn't go as planned. Maybe you missed out on an opportunity you were hoping for. Maybe a door you desperately wanted to open was slammed shut in your face. At that moment, The obstacle seemed unfair. But later, when you look back, didn't you realize it taught you patience, humility, or perhaps even redirected you to something better? And God, just like a strict teacher who seems hard at first but is actually helping us grow, obstacles train us to develop resilience, patience, and wisdom. Consider the story of Thomas Edison. He is remembered for inventing the light bulb, ours and God. But what many forget is that he faced more than 1,000 failures before succeeding. Each failure was not simply an obstacle, it was a teacher. Edison himself said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His obstacles taught him persistence, innovation, and determination. Without them, he might never had the character to keep going until success arrived. In fact, obstacles often reveal to us strengths we never knew we had. When everything is smooth, we stay in our comfort zone. But when we face an obstacle, we are forced to think differently, act more courageously, and dig deeper within ourselves. And God, a person who has never faced difficulties, may never truly discover how strong they are, but a person who has stumbled, fallen, and risen again learns resilience. Obstacles bring out hidden potential that comfort keeps locked away. Life's obstacles also teach us humility. They remind us that we are not in control of everything. No matter how much we plan, unexpected situations will arise. This realization keeps us grounded, US 16 hours and God, preventing arrogance and reminding us that we are always learners in life's vast classroom. Obstacles whisper, "There is still more for you to learn, still more for you to become." Nature gives us a perfect example of this. When a river flows, it doesn't stop at a rock. The rock is an obstacle, but instead of complaining, God, the river, learns to flow around it, over it, or through it. In the process, the river becomes creative, adaptive, and even more beautiful. The obstacles in our lives work the same way. They force us to find new paths, new strategies, and new ways of thinking. Without them, we would remain stagnant. Even small daily obstacles can be powerful teachers. A delayed train teaches patience. A disagreement with a friend teaches communication and forgiveness. A financial setback teaches responsibility and planning. If we view these moments not as irritations, but as lessons, every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow wiser and stronger. So, the next time life throws an obstacle our way, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" let us ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Because behind every obstacle, there is a lesson. And behind every lesson, there is growth. The obstacle is not blocking the path. It is the path. It is shaping us, preparing us, and building the resilience we need for the journey ahead. Whenever we face difficulties in life, our natural impulse is to escape. We think, maybe if I avoid this situation, life will be easier. It feels tempting to run away from problems, to hide from discomfort, to choose the path of least resistance. But here's the truth here. Every time we run away from challenges, we are also running away from the opportunity to grow stronger. Avoiding struggle may give us temporary relief, but in the long run, it keeps us weak and unprepared. Think about someone who wants to build physical strength. If he goes to the gym and avoids lifting anything heavy, choosing only the easiest exercises, will his muscles grow? Of course not. The same is true for life. If we constantly look for shortcuts, if we always choose comfort over challenge, we remain the same person we were yesterday. Growth demands discomfort. Running away from challenges is like refusing to lift the very weights that could have made us strong. There's a story about a young boy who saw a small bird trying to learn how to fly. The bird struggled, flapping its wings, falling to the ground, and trying again. The boy felt pity and decided to keep the bird inside a cage, thinking he was protecting it from pain. But what happened? The bird never learned to fly. And by trying to save it from challenges, the boy actually stole away its strength and freedom. In the same way, when we try to escape our challenges, we are caging ourselves. We remain limited, never discovering the wings within us. Life always presents us with two choices, comfort or growth. Comfort feels safe but keeps us stagnant. Growth feels difficult but transforms us. Every successful person you admire today chose growth over comfort. They faced rejection, criticism, failure, and pain, but instead of running away, they stayed and learned. And that's why they became strong. If they had escaped at the first sign of difficulty, we would never have heard their names. Running away from challenges also creates fear. The more we avoid a problem, the bigger it seems in our minds. It's like a shadow in the dark. If you keep running from it, it looks scarier. But the moment you turn and face it, you realize it's not as terrifying as it seemed. Every time we confront a challenge, our confidence grows. Every time we run away, our fears multiply. That's why facing difficulties is not just about solving problems. It's about breaking the cycle of fear that keeps us trapped. Even in small things, this truth is clear. A student who avoids tough subjects never develops academic strength. And an employee who avoids challenging tasks never grows in their career. A person who avoids difficult conversations in relationships never builds deep connections. In every area of life, growth is found on the other side of challenge. Running away only keeps us stuck in the same place, wishing for change but never experiencing it. So, instead of escaping from challenges, we must learn to embrace them. Not because they are easy, but because they make us capable. Not because they feel good, but because they help us grow. Just like a seed that has to break through the hard soil to become a tree, we too must break through challenges to reach our potential. Every time we choose to face difficulty instead of running away, we are choosing growth over stagnation, strength over weakness, and courage over fear. And Life is like a journey filled with different stages, and each stage requires new skills, new strength, and a new level of maturity. The difficulties we face are not random. They are like training sessions preparing us for the next chapter of our story. Every challenge is a stepping stone. It may feel heavy when we step on it, but without those stones and God, we cannot cross the river of life and reach the other side of success. Think about how school works. Before a student reaches college, they must pass through primary school, middle school, and high school. At every level, they face tests, projects, and exams. Hers, ours, and God. These challenges can sometimes feel overwhelming, but each test is necessary, and God, because it prepares the student for the next level of learning. And God, without the foundation of earlier difficulties, the student would not survive the advanced stages. Similarly, in life, our 16 hours and God, our setbacks and struggles act like exams that prepare us for the bigger responsibilities that lie ahead. Take the example of a soldier. Before stepping onto the battlefield, the soldier undergoes rigorous training. They run through mud, climb walls, carry heavy loads, and face grueling drills. At that moment, the soldier may feel exhausted and wonder why so much hardship is necessary. But when real battle arrives, that training becomes the difference between survival and defeat. In the same way, life's difficulties are training camps for the future. They strengthen us so that when bigger battles come, we are ready to face them with courage. Even in nature, this principle is clear. A bird teaches its chick to fly not by carrying it everywhere, but by nudging it out of the nest. The chick struggles, flaps its wings, and often falls. But every fall is training. Each attempt makes its wings stronger until one day it soars across the sky. If the chick never faced those difficulties, it would never learn to fly. In the same way, every difficulty we face is a push from life, urging us to rise to the next stage. Many successful people credit their toughest times as the moments that shaped them the most. Entrepreneurs often say their failures taught them lessons that success never could. Athletes speak of injuries and setbacks as turning points that built their resilience. Ours and God, writers and artists talk about rejection letters as stepping stones that sharpen their skills. Behind every shining success story is a staircase of difficulties that trained them step by step for their big moment. It's easy to see difficulties as roadblocks, but in reality, they are road signs saying, prepare ourselves, the next stage is coming. If we run away from them, we miss the training and God. And when life takes us forward, we are unprepared. But if we face them, we step onto the next stone, move a little higher, and grow stronger for what is yet to come. So, when difficulties appear in our path, 16 hours and God, we should not see them as interruptions to our journey, but as essential steps in it. Every difficulty is secretly preparing us for something greater. Every challenge is a stepping stone, and if we keep stepping forward, one stone at a time, we will eventually reach the destination of success we dream of. When we hear the word diamond, we immediately think of beauty, strength, and value. But few of us pause to remember what a diamond actually is. At its core, a diamond is nothing but a piece of carbon, the same element found in charcoal. The difference lies in what the carbon has gone through. Charcoal remains old because it never endured extreme pressure, but carbon that faced immense heat and crushing weight deep inside the earth transformed into a diamond. The pressure didn't destroy it, the pressure gave it value. Our lives are no different. God. Each of us begins as ordinary carbon, filled with potential, but waiting for transformation. The challenges we face, the pressure of responsibilities, the heat of failures, the weight of expectations, can feel unbearable. We might think, why is life so hard? Why can't things be easier? But just like the carbon, ours and God, it is precisely these pressures that shape us into something extraordinary. Without them, we remain like charcoal, useful but not precious. With them, we shine like diamonds, admired for our strength and resilience. Think about the stories of people who inspire us. Do we admire them because their journey was easy? Not at all. We admire them because they went through pressures that would have broken many others, and instead of breaking, they transformed. A single mother raising children against all odds, an entrepreneur building a business after repeated failures, and God, an athlete training through pain and injury. All of them shine because of the pressure they endured. Their success is not in spite of the challenges, but because of them. Pressure also reveals who we truly are. When everything is smooth, anyone can appear calm and strong. But under pressure, our real character comes out, and God. Just as heat reveals the purity of gold and pressure reveals the brilliance of carbon, challenges reveal our resilience, patience, and determination. Without that testing, we never truly know our own strength. There's a famous saying, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. If the ocean is always calm, a sailor never learns how to handle storms. It's only when the waves crash, the winds roar, and the ship is tested that the sailor's skills truly develop. In the same way, if life always gave us smooth sailing, we would never discover our potential. It is the storms that make us capable. It is the pressure that makes us valuable. Even small pressures in daily life work the same way. A deadline at work pushes us to focus. And a difficult conversation in a relationship pushes us to communicate better. A financial challenge pushes us to think creatively and plan wisely. At first, these pressures feel uncomfortable. But once we pass through them, we realize they elevated us, made us sharper, and brought out a better version of ourselves. So, instead of resenting the pressures we face, we should see them as opportunities. The very weight we think is crushing us might actually be shaping us. The heat we feel is not destroying us, it is refining us. The pressure we endure today is the reason hoping we will shine tomorrow. Without challenges, we remain ordinary. With challenges, we discover the diamond within us. One of the most common reactions when life puts us in difficulty is to look up and ask, "And God, why me?" We feel singled out, as though the universe has chosen us unfairly for suffering. But asking, "Why me?" keeps us trapped in self-pity. It gives us no answers, only more pain. The real shift happens when we change the question. Instead of, "Why me?" we begin to ask, "What can I learn from this situation?" That simple change in perspective can transform a burden, a teacher, and a challenge into a stepping stone. Imagine a student in class who, after failing an exam, keeps saying, "Why did I fail? Why did this happen to me?" That question will not help. But the moment the student asks, "What can I learn from this failure? Did I not study enough? Did I not manage my time well?" the failure becomes valuable. 16 hours and God, the exam no longer looks like an enemy but like feedback, pointing to the areas that need growth. Life works the same way. Every difficult situation is like an exam, and if we ask the right question, we find the lesson hidden inside. Many successful people did not get where they are by avoiding difficulties. They got there because they learned from them. Think of someone who lost a job. If they only asked, "Why me?" they would remain stuck in anger and bitterness. But if they asked, "What can I learn from this? What new skills can I develop? What direction is life trying to push me toward?" the job loss becomes a turning point, not an ending. Some of the most innovative businesses in the world were born because someone asked the right question after a setback. Even in personal struggles, this shift is powerful. Suppose a friendship breaks apart or a relationship ends. It hurts deeply, and the instinct is to say, "Why did this happen to me?" But if instead we ask, "What did this teach me about myself? Did I learn how to communicate better? How to respect others more, or how to value myself?" then the pain becomes a teacher. The hurt does not vanish, but it transforms into wisdom. Asking, "What can I learn?" also helps us grow resilience. When we see life as a classroom, difficulties stop looking like punishments. They start to look like lessons, and every lesson makes us stronger. A storm may shake the tree, but it also deepens the roots. Likewise, a problem may shake us, but if we learn from it, God, our roots of strength and wisdom grow deeper. There's a beautiful truth here, Egg. The same situation can break one person and build another, depending on the question they ask. Two people can go through the same challenge. One keeps asking, "Why me?" and stays stuck, while the other asks, "What can I learn?" and moves forward with strength. And God, the power is not the situation itself, but in our response to it. So when difficulties arrive, as they surely will, the choice of question becomes crucial. Why me closes the door to growth. What can I learn opens it wide. Every setback then becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes feedback, and every challenge becomes an opportunity. Life is always speaking to us through situations, and if we listen with the right question, we will hear its wisdom. Success is admired everywhere. We clap for achievers, celebrate their victories, and often wish we could be in their place. But if we look closely, the success that truly inspires us is not the one that came easily. It is the success born out of struggle, perseverance, and sacrifice. That kind of success carries a glow, a brightness that ordinary achievement cannot match. It is like a lamp shining in the dark. The light feels more powerful because of the darkness it overcame. Think of a person who inherits wealth without ever working for it. They may have money, but do we admire them as much as the one who built an empire from scratch? The reason is simply true success is not measured only by the result and God, but by the journey taken to reach it. A victory that comes without struggle may bring comfort, but a victory achieved after years of effort brings pride, joy, and respect. Take the story of Abraham Lincoln. Before becoming one of the most respected presidents in history, he faced countless failures. He lost elections, failed in business, and went through deep personal struggles. But he did not give up. With perseverance, he kept moving forward. His success shines not just because he became president, God, but because his journey was carved through years of struggle. His life teaches us that it is the difficulties that make the brightness of success visible. Even in our personal lives, we know this to be true. Think of the time you worked hard for something. Whether it was passing a difficult exam, and God, earning a promotion, or achieving a personal goal, the joy you felt was intense, far more powerful than any easy achievement. Why? Because you knew the nights of effort, the sacrifices, and the challenges behind that success. Struggle added depth to the joy, and perseverance made the achievement shine brighter. Nature also reflects this truth beautifully. The lotus is one of the most admired flowers in the world, yet blooms in muddy waters. The contrast of its purity against the dirt is what makes it remarkable. Similarly, and God, a person's success shines brightest when it blooms out of the mud of struggle. The world admires not just the flower, but also the story of its perseverance. Struggles also build stories worth telling. No one gathers to hear about someone who had an easy path, ours and God. We are drawn to the tales of those who kept going despite hardships, who refused to quit when quitting seemed easier. Their stories inspire us because they remind us that perseverance is the bridge between struggle and success. And God, the brightness of their achievement lights the way for others. If we think carefully, even the sweetest fruits take time to ripen. A farmer cannot plant today and harvest tomorrow. It is the waiting, the nurturing, and the patience that make the fruit sweet. In the same way, our perseverance in the face of struggle makes our success truly rewarding. Without the waiting, without the effort, it would not taste the same. So, true success is not defined just by reaching the destination. It is defined by the journey. The battles fought, the failures endured, and the strength developed along the way. That is why success born out of struggle and perseverance does not just shine. It inspires, uplifts, and becomes a guiding light for others